listening and I didn't listen and see, how do you assist the ancestors who committed suicide? You assist the ancestors who committed suicide first and foremost. But first of all, let's find out why they committed suicide. A lot of times, the energies want you to know their stories, right? When you identify the stories of what happened to them and the reasons why they feel the way they feel, it allows for their spirit to finally be heard, right? That's a big thing. You think about people in life. You think about those that are drug addicts, alcoholics, and use different substances to escape reality, right? They haven't been heard. So instead of them being able to deal with and handle what has gone on in their lives, they are numbing themselves so that they don't have to experience it or feel it. And why am I going to tell anyone? Because nobody has ever validated my feelings or have listened to what actually happened to me. When you finally give some of those people your ear and tell them, I understand, I hear you, I understand this happened to you, I know that this. Because a lot of times those that have been traumatized don't think that anybody's going to believe them, because when they told somebody when they were younger and that person did nothing about it, that just meant to them that the world didn't believe them. Now here you come, even if they're past, here you come, finally able to hear them, understanding what they went through, understanding why they were the way that they were, and that they just felt like they were not strong enough for this world. You have finally heard them. That frees them from a lot of things sometimes, that allows their spirit to elevate, right? When they go that way, we don't initially put them on our ancestral altars. We first take it to a Catholic church, right? If there is a lineal issue where it's multiple people and it's mental issues in the family, we don't want those energies getting too close to you, whereas they can harm you instead of helping you. So we give them light at the church. We give them the intention masses at the church for their spirits to get elevated there, so that they're at a higher place where they won't bring you down and they won't be able to harm you. They're now being elevated elsewhere. And then when they get to a certain point, at that time, you then add them to your ancestral altar, right? Again, readings, misas, spiritual investigations to find out how far have they elevated at this point, who's safe. Most times the more elevated ancestors, and you can tell them, right, keep them at bay. If they have a message to pass, they got to give it to you to give to me. They can't get straight to me until you see that they have elevated enough that they don't cause me harm, right? That they're elevated enough that they're here to help and not harm me. And at that point, the rest of the ancestors will open the gate and let them through, right? But they'll check them in a minute. As long as you got elevated ones, you're doing the right stuff where they're concerned, they will check the rest of them. You just got to tell them, hey, she can't come through here. None of them. I tell my ancestors all the time, not near one and no. I don't care if they got my blood running in my veins or not. If they ain't right, you cut them off at the knees. Don't let them through here. You hold them down over there till they elevate. And if they don't want to elevate it, they got a message, they got to give it to you. And if they don't want to give it to you, then we don't need it. I've been seeing some workers say that if a person doesn't go through the proper rituals when they die, they never become a venerated ancestor. What do you think of that? That's a lie. What ritual? What's the ritual when you die? And by whose methods and whose standards is this ritual being performed? You know how many cultures there are? How many different spiritual systems there are? Who's to say which one is right? There's no ritual when you die. The spirit has to be allowed to transition, right? And figure out its steps from that point on. The reason why we do these things is so that when someone does pass, the rest of the lineage is strong enough for them to grab them, right? And take them to where they need to be to get themselves together, right? To answer for because you got to answer for everything. Like, there's no hell, right? When you die, you have to go stand in front of your Egbe, Olodumare, Olofi, everybody else. And why didn't you do the shit you said you were going to do? They whip out your contract on you and say, you ain't do any of these things. This is where flesh goes Human goes. Spirit is now there to say, damn, I messed up. If for spirits to elevate, that means that they have to now acknowledge the things that they failed to do in life, right? That's what elevation is. That's what it does with you, right? When you're growing, that means you're learning, right? Spirit doesn't stop learning because it dies, because the suit has dropped, because the spirit is still alive, so you're still able to learn. If you here now killed somebody, right? And you're reformed, and you turn your life around, and you're doing all of the good things that you're supposed to do, and you're being better, and you're helping, and you're giving more, and you're elevating, and you're doing all these things right. You mean to tell me that you don't have a chance for redemption? That makes no sense. So if humans can do it, why can't spirits have a chance for redemption? That makes no sense. People are saying anything because they're looking for an audience. But does it make sense? Absolutely not. Make it make sense. Not true. Now, spirits don't have to elevate if they don't want to. That's a different ball game. People can pass over. You was a shitbag in life. You are destined to be a shitbag through this existence and the next. You have the right to do that. And you know what they do? They come back as them chickens that we whip their ass when it's time to do a sacrifice. You come back, who said you got to come back as a human? No. It depends on what you did. It depends on whether or not you decided to elevate or not. It just depends on, you know what I'm saying? All these animals and stuff, they got spirits, they're alive, they have kids, they got all that kind of stuff. Who's to say you can't come back as one of them? Why not? Every time an ancestor comes back, you know how many ancestors you got? We're reborn into the same family. You know how many times it can skip you and you go and do some other shit until you get it and you get your ass whipped at something else. Now you get to come back into the bloodline because you learned, because you done suffered. You got to learn some kind of way. The universe will figure out a way to she practices and she don't know what the fuck she's talking about. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. As a venerated ancestor, you venerating your ancestors. That's your job. That's what you're doing. I will venerate you. Who's going to tell me that I cannot venerate you? That's my people. I do what I want. You do what you want with yours. I'm going to do what I want with mine. I'm going to venerate mine because they're going to have a chance to get their lives together. I have plenty. I'll tell you, my upbringing, color purple. Straight up. Harpo said, beat me. Straight up color purple. Are they elevated now? Yes. Why? Because we put through hella work to elevate them. We put through hella work to show them what they did was wrong. We put through hella work to show them that we had to struggle all of this because you dropped the ball. You see all of what we got to do because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You now you got to help me. I'm going to give you this light. I'm going to give you this prayer. I'm going to give you this candle. I'm going to give you all the things that you need to do. And I'm going to get the strong ones to stand around you and grab you by the scruff of your neck. You think Big Mama and them wasn't back there hemming people up? Oh, they get it in the spiritual realm. You think not? If I could bring one of my people and come walk into your dreams to tell you some shit, you think that my people won't walk into my own ancestors and go in there and regulate some shit? Absolutely. That's why we pull on the strong ones first. We give them spinach like Popeye, and then they go back there and Snooki do work, right? Anybody who don't want it, they can't come through here. But if you want it, she gonna make sure you get it in line. The rest of them, she gonna call them my uncles and my grandfathers and all the rest of them, and they gonna go back there and snatch. It's still a bloodline. If they have access to get to me and I'm alive, then why don't they got access to what's in the spiritual realm that's over there where they at? They can and they will. People tell you anything, any goddamn thing. It makes no sense. My initial thing, I was going to come on here. I was like, I'm going to do some readings. I'm going to be reading some people. And they was like, you going to be screaming on people.